the unheard melodies of charisma. Often we're like distracted listeners of a cosmic concert, unaware of the quantum charisma playing its sweet tunes within us. It's like having a radio, but it's not stuck playing static when it could be jamming to the grooviest station of the galaxy. Our journey of self discovery is about finding that dial and cranking it up to the vibes that you're born to broadcast. Charisma, not just the chip for the chosen few. Let's bust the cosmic myth. Charisma isn't a VIP pass handed out to the lucky few. Nope. It's more like a universal dance move that everyone can learn. It's about mastering the steps of your self awareness and energy management. Think of it as a soulful tango with the universe. This is the good part. Michelangelo and the art of cosmic sculpting. Picture Michelangelo chipping away at the Pietà. When asked about his knack for carving out such beautiful form from stone, he quipped that the masterpiece was always there. He just had to clear away the excess unnecessary bits. One more part. You, the sculptor of your destiny, you, my friend, are like that block of marble. Inside of you is a stunning work of art, just waiting to be revealed. As your mystical guides, we're here to hand you the chisel of awareness, helping you to chip away the old karma, the dusty beliefs, and the worn out experiences to uncover the shining charisma within. Maybe just one more paragraph. Quantum charisma isn't just a fancy term. It's a radiant light. It's a radiant light show of your being. When you tap into it, you're just flicking on a light bulb. You're powering up a cosmic lighthouse. It's that aha moment when you realize your true magnetism and potential are already there to light up the universe. And the reason why we kind of wanted to start on this is that the book we wrote is a lot about what we're doing in the hologram. And if you can just realize that you don't want to miss any opportunities to have our direct coaching you into really uploading a microchip of how it's going to go in your future. You don't want to miss a class. You don't want to, like, you got to wait all week, like, to get in this class, because when it's live, then you have a chance to ask questions. You can always go back to it and listen to the recordings, and I do a lot. And I'm a very different person since we've been doing this group. I must tell you, my life is changing very quickly. But it's because I really, really get it. If you're staying in the 3D story, and I notice it because I have a very broad spectrum of clients. And some of my clients really want to tell me their 3D story. And I always think, why do you want to waste your precious time with me? Tell your psychologist that. Like, we're going to be downloading source energy right into your future world. Don't download anything that would be a limitation of what was or what didn't work out when you're spending any time with me, because what Sean and I are doing is we're creating a container space for, I would call it a spiritual bank, right? So look forward to this all week. Prepare for it all week, because you're going to just, if you just slide into base here, and the realistic truth is some of you are just getting off of work, especially the California group. And some of you are just getting ready to go to bed, the East Coast group. So there's going to be some physical world limitation. But aside from that, the way that you can translate all the possibilities of your multiple timelines that are all lined up like one of those accordion files, the old when they used to have those file booklets, and you could open it in like an accordion, and it would just have you could put papers in all different areas of, and it would kind of accordion back together. That's literally how your timelines look. So pick from the file that reflects where you want to go. So when we go into our journey tonight, we're going to ask you some prompts because we really want this to be like your favorite part of the week. We want this to be like everything else you might be dotting your I's, crossing your T's, getting things done for everybody, meeting deadlines. But for this part of your week, think of it like a yoga class. That's the one time every week that's all for you, or the spa appointment, or the massage. This is your time, and you're investing in yourself to literally become like this isn't a crapshoot unless you make it one. It is a sure thing. I promise you. If you show up and you really work this process, you're going to change your life. So I'm going to turn the talking stick over to Sean, who's going to give us some wonderful prompts and to get you thinking about how you want to organize the journey tonight. And then she's going to prompt me to download on it. So I just want to welcome you all to the call. I'm super glad you're here, and let's make some miracles.
Thanks, Allie.
You're welcome.
So super awesome prompts. I loved your accordion analogy. I thought that was amazing.
Thank you.
So if we think of our life like an accordion and our timelines like different levels of the accordion, where, if you just internally tune in, where on that accordion are you? Are we bringing our 3D stuff to the world? Are we speaking to our limitations most of the day? Are we working in a state of miracles most of the day? Like, really, I think the first thing is to tune in to see where in that spectrum are you currently operating with your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. This is a time of mastery in our life. This is a big time on earth where we have to become masterful over our emotions and our mind. So just become very honest internally about that. And Allie, do you have anything you'd like to add about that?
No, I think it was I love the feeling that it gave me to hear it. I think only thing I would do is really turn it back on the group and let's make this fit what you want to build.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you looking for? Like, I always know, so kind of the sure thing, Nicole wants to create wealth, right? So I know that that's one thing, right? And I know most every woman wants to be embodied, right? And I know we all, when you think about our hot and holy, which is, let's remind ourselves why we're in hot and holy. Hot and holy is to really remember our energetic frequency of magnetism and attraction and charisma, and how being lined up in that naturally creates wealth, naturally creates health, naturally creates connection. So if you can kind of just line up to the values of why you're even in the group in the first place, we're going to have a huge success.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to add any more, we're happy to.
I think circling back to the values piece, Allie, I think that is a really great conversation or thought to really dive deeper into, of like, because Allie and I were actually spending some time with that today, specifically about our values as a business, and what are our values as women, and why are we here, and what do we value in our life, in our energy, in our reality, that is so, why are we here? Like, what is that? If you could put one word on that, why are you here in your life to change in this call, in this container? If anybody would like to speak to that before we move on, I think that would be very valuable to both Allie and I.
And you.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna pull a card because
Yeah, Kathleen, go ahead. Share with us why it's valuable to you.
The word that came to me this week is harmony.
ooh, my favorite.
I'm looking for harmony, not balance, because balance is not of nature. Harmony is.
Harmony is really neat because I think what you're, if I'm correct, if I'm correctly interpreting what you're trying to convey is, if you try to look for the balance frequency, what is that? But if you want to say harmony, then all of a sudden you know exactly what that frequency is. But what the hell is a balance frequency? I don't know. Right? Where are the two opposing contrasts? That balance is two contrasts, right? But when you say harmony, everybody, you feel a very succinct frequency of joy that bubbles up in your system. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kathleen. That's amazing. Wendy, would you like to share about like what you're valuing, and kind of that deep purpose that you want to gather out of this?
Just like maybe uh fulfillment, completeness. um excuse me, I told you after last week, I told you after the first call we had, like for the next 2 days I was like floating and dancing and singing to Kathleen and the cameras and stuff. um the same, like after last week's call, like the next 2 days I just had this great like feeling, I could say, of like joy, or of something that filled something, like filled a hole that needed to be filled. And I just love the idea that I need to figure out how to make that every day, not just for a couple of days after a call. So I'm working on that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think by going on and going back to some of the archive stuff you have on the site,
Mm-hmm.
then that might be able to fill in the holes when it's not Thursday that I've been waiting for.
That's right. Our YouTube has amazing stuff that will give you that dopamine response, that
Yeah,
like
it's
that
something, but
neurotransmitter rewiring.
because even my like Kathleen noticed it when I was with her, and then my husband noticed it last Friday. He said,
Um,
"What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "I know." So I don't know. That's where I am. It's just something. It's like I'm learning this feeling I didn't know I haven't maybe seen in years. Feeling this happiness, this joy. So
You even look different this week.
mhm.
that's funny.
I was telling Sean that I saw because you and Kathleen were on camera, and I
Yeah.
said, "Did you see Wendy and Kathleen change on the call?" And she's like, "Yes." I think you were the only two that were on the window, and I was like, and first thing when the call opened up, I'm like, "Wow, she doesn't even look like the same person tonight."
That's
You
funny.
already changed again already.
Yeah. Well, I can feel it. So thank you guys.
Well,
It's
you're
exciting.
welcome. Thank you so much for sharing. Nicole or Dan, would one of you like to share at all? The floor is
I
open.
yeah, I would second that. When I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, she looks like a different person.
I
You're
see
just
Nicole, me too.
um
Oh my gosh.
I would say for me it's really to learn. Um I definitely am searching for something, haven't found it yet, but I think a lot of it is just to keep learning, keep dying, keep learning, and growing from there.
So it would be really interesting to even dive further personally in yourself about that. Like, what actually am I searching for? And like do some thinking about that over this week, and text Sally and I, like share with us like what clarity you have about the inner whisperings of what that feeling is, what that knowing is, what the education is that you're looking for. So any of that deepening we'd love to hear about. Diane, would you like to share?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi everybody.
Hi, Diane.
I need to be more present, and I am present, but I want to feel totally whole present. And clarity. I need clarity too, really bad myself, because there's so many. I'm retired, so I don't have to, I'm not working, but my mind is working all the time. Should I buy a house now? Should I do this? You know, with what's going on in our world today, my mind's just constantly crushing. What do I do? What do I do? You know, do I wait? I'm spending 6 months in North Carolina for the winter, and then I'll go back to Michigan for 6 months. It would just be nice to not be throwing money at rent than putting money into an investment. And I just feel like I'm throwing money away in this rental for 6 months, you know? So that weighs on me really heavy, but I live a pretty good life. I don't work. I do a lot of playing. We do a lot of walking. Just whatever we want to do, we do it. But my mind's just not clear. It's stuck with all this terrible energy in this world today.
So you're saying that right now, the current world affairs are bringing you into a heavier place, but your actual life is really good. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, that's a really good one. Um, I'm gonna do 10 minutes of teaching on that if everyone doesn't mind. It's a really important thing because the frequency of the planet um is intensifying. I mean, this recent new moon is a really intense new moon. And so the astrology doesn't look very hopeful for the next 6 months. I'm just going to tell you. But if you think about the different times that have been hard across time, there's really some horrific things that have happened, right, in certain epochs. And but at other places in the world, maybe the Eskimos were doing fine, right? During Nazi Germany. Does that make sense to everybody? So you have to ask yourself, because you're going to create your reality in the next tomorrow, this now moment, in 6 months. Can you allow yourself to not live in the same frequency of the lower densities that are going to be happening on the planet? Do you have to participate in a way that you're fully involved with the grief? Because it's very hard emotionally, isn't it, to watch that?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it's also scary, right? But it's also designed to keep you in chaos and to keep you in your lower density emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think of your soul making an agreement to be on the planet at this time, Do you want to be involved? And I know you don't want to be involved, but does your psyche, your karma, and answer it inside of you honestly, does your karma need you to suffer during this time? Does your suffering or lack, because things might come to the US, not always on foreign ground.
Mhm.
That's why it's very important that you have a spiritual practice right now, because you want to be fully aligned to be able to jump on another lily pad quickly if you need to. And you won't be fit enough spiritually to maneuver the things that some of the creepier side of the planet have planned unless you're really doing your work. So I tell Sean all the time, we have to work quickly and we have to wake people up very quickly. And I'm serious, but I don't say that with fear. I'm saying you need to be spiritually agile. Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. And how glad are you that you're in a conversation like this? Because if you are watching, I don't care what your beliefs are, any news station that you watch, if you think that your political side is more right or whatever, they're all designed to keep you engaged in the fear mongering, either side. You must become so strong that you create in your awareness the new earth. The new earth is not coming to you. Does everybody understand that? It's not something that's like rolling in. The new earth in that accordion of timelines is one of the files already in existence. I'm serious. It's already fully here. We have to so refine our mind to our heart that's the holographic folder we open. So don't miss a beat. Don't miss a beat right now. Start when we download into the microchip that you're going to make your personal hologram. Put peace in there. How intelligent, emotionally, spiritually intelligent was it for Kathleen to pick harmony? Right? She picked an incredibly clear attribute because wherever you are, whether you're floating in the ocean, whether you're sitting in a grassy meadow, whether you're in, just about any weather system, it can be enjoyable if you have the right gear for the conditions. And harmony is your state of mind so that you are so flexible that you're calling in 5D attributes and not contrast good and evil ones. So every time you train yourself, this is like, this isn't just play, but it is very playful. You're in like training. You're training yourself for what you're going to create. But this is the thing. We are being prompted to open our hearts. Who's noticed that they actually feel some action in their heart space more lately? Does it feel like kind of either pins and needles or just like kind of like a little like prodding or anybody know?
Nicole says this is meant to wake everyone up.
Yes, Nicole, that's right. Thank you, Nicole. So as your homework for the next month, notice the unconscious things your body is doing. You might feel pressure in your heart. Some people might feel it kind of pulling apart. Don't let that scare you. That's actually a really good sign. And you're not going to have a heart attack and it's not going to break open, but in some ways it's stretching. Do you relate to your heart stretching a little bit? But it's a strengthening, it's not a tearing apart. But with any like weight exercise, when you're lifting weights, do you ever notice that some of the fibers have to like break apart so they build back stronger when you're building muscle? Your heart's muscle. So when you show up for class, run the class, don't walk, right? Like you might even find every 2 weeks is not enough. You'll be like, give me more. I've said so many times to Sean, I don't know how to convey how important it is for everyone in our little group to try to get here because you don't want to be in April or March trying to figure this stuff out. You want to be doing it in November. You want to be doing it in October. You wanted to be doing it in September, right? Because you're going to manifest more harmony when other people might be manifesting more fear. And I promise you, you will. Even if it seems like everything's falling apart around you, if there's no water, you're going to be the one that has the water, right? So be in joy and be in really aligned. How do I want to feel in my body first?
Mhm.
How do I want to feel? How do I want to feel about people receiving my presence? What if this is the most wealthy time in your life? Even though there might be some challenges with other people manifesting financially. What if you put in your hologram now that it for you is the exact opposite? You never made so much money in your life. You never had as many resources as you do right now, right? Like you choose and it's exciting because you get to choose. Don't choose the demise, choose the thrive. So before we begin, does anybody have anything they want to add?
Ellie, I just wanted to rephrase something that you said because I think it is really profound that people hear it in a different way. Is that what Ali and I are saying is that there is a window of time that is very, very important, that the window began. We are ramping up to that window, and things are going to get more challenging if you don't have tools as we pass through the threshold. And that's why what we're doing right now is so important, because you are creating a future timeline template for yourself starting now. So when things kind of intersect, when our destiny meets us,
I
we're
like that.
at a different level.
Mhm.
We can create a different reality. And
You're
so
on a better elevator floor.
that's right, trajectory, a
Right?
different trajectory. Yes. And a different elevator. So that's why you have to bring your friends, and that's why you have to invite your sisters and your mothers and your community, because if they don't learn how to change their trajectory, there's a bifurcation that's going to happen. And we want to focus on the trajectory in the higher elevator floor where more is possible. Allie, do you want to say anything else about that?
Because more is already possible.
Yes.
The more isn't possible when the bifurcation happens.
No.
Bifurcation's already happening. That's what your spiritual teachers aren't understanding how to teach you. It's not an event that's just going to happen. It's happening as you realize that the old can fall away and the new can fall forward.
Yes.
You are the bifurcation. But what she is trying to say is that there's going to be more available knowledge for you to comprehend as spirit widens our ability to understand our plane and existence. So it isn't something you're going to have to learn through the mind. You don't have to get more spiritually intelligent. What is actually going to happen is you're going to get more emotionally intelligent. And so you'll be able to choose, am I going to feed more fear? Am I going to get more scared? Is my cortisol going to go wacko? I think I already let my cortisol go super wacko when I started to see them mess with us around COVID. And then my body didn't handle it well. And then I just started to go down some rabbit holes and see that there was this global agenda, and it scared me. And I got too into the story of what good and evil needs to do, right, in order for good to win. And I got too much in what the evil wanted to do. And I really took a body hit. So if you're relating to being drained and fatigued, and I really feel like Diane probably really understands what I'm saying because she spoke to it. If you're getting tired of that, then you got to turn the channel. And you got the channels are, let's say, Allie, what are the channels? Where do we turn them? You turn them in the emotional intelligence. So when you feel fear, you turn it to love. When you feel chaos, you turn it to harmony, right? When you feel despair, you turn it to joy. So I want you to, in this space where there's a very settled energy happening, I want to really invite you back into your body for why we're here. And to me, what I was prompted when I was meditating and how to really reach you in the most meaningful way, I asked Spirit, how do I help people who don't understand the splitting of the worlds yet? Where do you want me to begin? And Spirit said the body. So tonight we're going to meditate on the body, but bring your desires of the material world with you. So like, Nicole, if you want to bring that desire for wealth, bring it, okay? Bring it with. Everything, just like hurry up, pack up your books, put them in your backpack. But our focus is going to be embodiment. But put into your backpack all the little microchip crystals that you want to plant into your embodiment. Does that make sense for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Drop your mind down into your heart, which is always where we start. And deepen your breath. I just want to invite you back in to take a more aware tour of your body. Drop your mind into your heart and feel the busyness of your mind giving way to a feeling heart. Deepen that breath of life that is within you that is so intelligent. And notice that your lungs just want to just fill yourself up with a deeper breath every time, a longer breath, a longer inhale, a longer exhale. A longer inhale, a longer exhale. Dropping down so this next inhale, you feel that you're not doing it from your head anymore, you're doing it from your heart. And you really feel the breath of life moving through your body, but also expanding out of it. And you feel the inhale like kind of contracting everything that maybe you need to hold on to for one last time before you exhale and you just give it back to the universe. And really let that breath leave you. Almost to where you don't feel breath, you feel starved for it for a second. And that's the most holy instant. When you don't have any more breath anymore in your body, that's a holy instant because you actually almost instantly go into emptiness. Try it. Breathe in as much as you can. When you got it, hold it. Hold it as long as you can until you can't hold it anymore. And then exhale it out. Ah, I felt that go out right out of either all of your toes or one very strong, energetic person on our call. I just really felt one of you just empathetically just rush through my body. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's what you want. This is what you want. This is how you need to feel. And within this is the sacred goddess, the higher self of you, who is so divinely compassionate. And I want you to imagine yourself as if our little posse is going to an intimate little elegant champagne event where the most exquisite crystal is being poured. And just imagine your unique gown. What color is it? Is it figure hugging or is it sheer? Is it loose and freeing? What does it say in the way that it fits you, how you want to be held in life? Loosely, tightly, snugly, carefully. How does this dress support the mirror of how you want to be held in life at this time? And notice that there's a feeling of your presence that you recognize as something you have felt briefly at times in your life where you're very aware of your charisma, your magnetism, your sensuality, your sexuality. And how at that time when you were lined up, that was the best time in your life. No matter how fleeting, when you could grab a hold of that feeling, it was the best time in your life. Breathe that in. Now I want you to upload the program. And how you're going to do that is you're going to you're going to hear my words and you're going to say yes to them. And that's what's going to spark the download. Like when you hit in the apps, when you hit get for you is yes, okay? So when you get to the yes, start downloading what I'm telling you. It doesn't matter if you wear makeup. Everybody's going to think you already are. Yes. Feel that in your heart. Feel it big. It doesn't matter what weight you're at or where your body is. People are going to see you as an emanation of such pure and juicy sensuality. And that doesn't mean that you have to ignite that feeling if you're trying to hold that more quietly, maybe for you and yourself or you and your lover. But that sensuality comes in the form of whatever you most want it to. They don't have to covet you in a sexual way for you to be a vision of sensuality. I see sensual women all the time and I don't feel sexually attracted to them. But that's just me. But I can know and appreciate and really enjoy the feeling that I get in my body for witnessing that they're there. But there's also times when we just want to electrify the room with our sensuality too. That's either are fine and good. You choose. But we are uploading the frequency in an aligned and heightened awareness of purity. And I'm not talking Puritanism, but when it's true, it's pure, right? Truth. That you're authentically, electrifyingly your feminine self. Even if femininity is a pair of yoga pants and a polo shirt, who cares? But that when people receive it, they're like, you feel right. You feel pono, what the Hawaiians would call it. And breathe that in. And notice how much you wanted someone to give you permission to be unapologetically you. And upload, I am unapologetically me. And I am so unapologetically me, it translates into harmony when people arrive with me at my frequency. And it gives me joy to give them joy. And it gives me joy to feel my joy. And it gives me joy to send that frequency of joy into where it matches in every other person, place, thing, or the spirit of everything, right? The inanimate objects, you can send that into a crystal, a rock, a blade of grass. That your life becomes fifth dimensional in a way that you create harmony just to exist in the truth of who you are. And say, yes, I claim this for myself tonight. I claim this for myself tonight so that with this stasis of resonating true beauty, true pretty energy, true charisma, quantum charisma, the truth of who you are ignites every other person, place, or thing on this planet. So for you, the new earth is available to create it. Say yes. Now pull all the things out of your backpack. It might be financial wealth. It might be deep romantic and soul connection. It might be ability to have the freedom to play and to travel. It might be to have more time with your children. It might be to have more time with your parents, your siblings, your friends, your lover. And see your whole body light up as if the memo has been downloaded and that there's like one little twinkly light that gets the memo, but it's like the 100 monkeys. Once one monkey gets it, 100 more get it. Once one monkey starts peeling the banana, all the monkeys of the world peel the banana. Once one of your cells gets the harmonic frequency of joy, elevated emotions, embodiment, sensuality, feel how your body's starting to tingle. This is the truth of who you are. We are upgrading this program, even just from last week, because it's a practice. So this week is better than last week. And you might feel it in your sexual centers because creative energy and reproductive energy and manifestation energy all starts in your root chakra, which is your most sexual chakra. So if you start feeling little tinglies in your yoni, or you start feeling like little ripples of excited energy just rippling through like a motherboard, let it do its thing and just spend some time in this word, accepting the gift of what you're imagining, and hold your hands over your heart. There you go. This feels good to receive you. Now amplify as your cells get the message of all the little, let's call them free add-ons. Tonight they're free. So pick all the add-ons you can to your embodiment. That you can eat whatever you want because your body sees everything as love frequency. And that if your body hasn't been well, it's downloading the program from your emergency medical paramedic team, your medical assistance team, to go through and upgrade any of the programs that needed an upgrade tonight. Now go into your spiritual bank. And if you like gold or platinum or gems, just fill the safe. Maybe you don't want a safe. Maybe you want a cave, right? Maybe you want a freezer for all that money or mattress. Who cares? Fill it. You want for nothing, my beautiful woman that you are. You want for nothing. And feel how much easier it is to breathe when you feel your body aligned to its pono, how you were made right as God created you. It's that simple. Isn't that lovely? Now see, as if you are sitting inside of yourself, I want you to pivot so that you can kind of like make your spirit energy like kind of turn and face yourself spiritually, as if you were like a spirit bubble, and behold the beauty of your physical embodiment, because you're not physically embodied in your other realms. It's much different. So enjoy being physical and behold that you get to be physical right now in this now moment and behold it. And you will never tell yourself you're not this or that. You're everything right now. And allow you witnessing yourself to tell yourself you're very pleased. And when you can completely make peace with that, come back into your body. Feel how good that feels. And as you come back into your body, enjoy so much. Enjoy so much that it feels good to be at home inside of you. And thank yourself and Creator God that you have chosen to be alive on the planet at this time to help bring forward a collective oneness consciousness of an awakened heart that is literally in the cocoon of a birthing humanity. And by you waking up, it's like the 100th monkey. Everybody else is waking up around you, but they're using your energy to get the memo. So nod your head. You did not come here to suffer. You did not come here to get scared or worried. You came here to be connected. Choose the connection energy in this moment. Affirm that you are going to see, think, feel, and imagine everything different from this moment on. Be at peace with yourself. Know that we are sitting together in another dimension in the sexiest dresses, drinking champagne and creating and downloading our fifth dimensional time-space reality. We're refining ourselves. So that is what is the truth of who we are. Claim it, say to yourself, and so it is, and come back. Come back. One more time. Come back. All right, everybody, you're back. Do you see why it's so important? So important. In all the things you want to create, come back to your body first. It will be the fastest way into your manifestation. It's going to be really hard to do these things that are like, well, a good example is the wealth one. It's always going to seem outside of you if you're outside of your body, right? So come into your body, practice being in your body, enjoy your sensuality, because that's going to be the truth of your kundalini, your vitality, your life force is all rooted in that first chakra. The truth of who you are is that grounded, sexual, sensual energy. So don't be afraid to magnetize it. Just, you don't have to embody an uncomfortable sexuality, but it is a magnetic part of you. So allow yourself to be, even if you don't want to be magnetic, allow yourself to, another word could be authentic, right? The truth of who you are. So let's take about 5 minutes to either share, because I'd love to hear how this affected you, or to ask a question. I'm going to let Sean moderate that, and then we will say goodnight.
So who would, you may either ask a question or share, and just unmute yourself. There's a small group tonight.
That was amazing. I'm breathing and I don't even feel like I'm breathing. It's just naturally. I've been struggling and fighting it, before this meeting. I could tell I was. And now I'm just so relaxed and numb and tingly all over. And so if I can't get into my body the way you did, I can listen to this and just repeat this until I learn to do this myself.
That's right. And that's why what's really fun, and Sean's so good at it, is Sean will record the whole meeting, but you know what she's been doing? So if you maybe Sean could share some of our back meditations, but I will listen to all the meditations. I listen to them all week, you guys. And they sound different to me every time. And because I channel them, they sound new to me. I'm telling you, my own meditations are completely changing my life, unlike any other program, any other thing I've ever done. This is the most transformative work. So, so make a practice, just like you would practice your golf swing. Just walk to this, lay down to this, do your dishes to this, and you will be reporting miracles back to us.
My mind is not even buzzing. My ears aren't ringing. Everything's just super clear and quiet.
Right? Do you feel like a sense of ease and warmth? And it's like, it's not hot. It's
warm.
like,
Chest is warm, super warm.
How I feel too. Does anybody else feel that?
I definitely do. And I find it interesting that while we're there, I subconsciously am smiling, or my body's moving, that I'm not consciously moving my body, that like my body's moving. But definitely a lot of tingling and warm feelings. My hands, especially my hands, get very warm, like I'm receiving. So,
and that's
the hands are your exits. Your hands and your feet. Sorry, your hands and your feet are the entrance and the exits of how your body flips from its yin to its yang. So that's a really key thing to realize. When I'm doing body work or doing distance healing, when people tell me they start to feel the tingles in their extremities, then I know that they're really having a deep healing.
And the other part of that is it's our nervous system rewiring and allowing like our old trauma patterns and denser energy out and new higher frequency in. It's like honey, an elixir of honey in our veins is how I describe it in my body. So anybody else? Nicole, I saw that you actually sent a chat here, so let me read that. Nicole's question is there a deadline on getting to the new earth?
So that's a really good question, Nicole. I think a lot of people think that the new earth is coming up, but is coming to us like as a collective shift. And some people do think that. You might hear healers say that, like some healers think that's what the rapture is.
Mhm.
But what spirit shows me, and it makes more sense to me if you understand quantum physics, is everything is a simulation. Nothing is actually real. So there isn't like a real, even if you look around your bedroom and you say, yeah, this is real, it's actually not. Nothing solid. So the new earth is an awareness that is going to arrive in how you start manifesting in the world around you. I am part of this really interesting high level team in Hawaii. We're creating a really interesting global project. I'm really lucky. There's only 4 people on it, and I'm really lucky to be one of to even be chosen, right? And so the lead visionary, he had a meeting in Maui, and he doesn't really know about the new earth. But he said, it's so weird. I had to present in Maui, and everybody there just saw me different than they normally see me. It's like everything was so easy, and everybody just felt my energy and got what I was saying. And I'm like, Keone, don't you realize what really happened? You reached that frequency in yourself. And then everybody that could match that frequency was what showed up in your hologram. And he was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. I'm like, you caused it, silly. So it's not a deadline, but I want to tell you something, that the reason why Nicole's question is so important. As things get harder in the 3D, if you are not highly trained, I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Sorry. If you are not fully trained, do you think you can maintain a frequency? Are you going to believe that you still have the abilities that you do? Do you want to be compromised when you do see things in front of you? Will you be of the state of a mind like a Tibetan monk, right? That is not jolted. You have to practice and make yourself strong now. And then when the 3D world starts to deconstruct more, you're ascending. And when you're ascending, ascension exists for you. So sure, there's a deadline, because if you don't do your work, your mind won't be strong enough. When things start really falling apart, you'll fall apart with it. And there is a split happening. And it is a soul split. So practice, practice, practice. Like, don't wait for a deadline, right? But I know that's not what you were saying. And I want you to know what a good question I think that was. But make your mind so spiritually strong that you've already brought in the support. So as your simulation starts to deconstruct, you're ascending into a more harmonious frequency that you don't see it. Will you answer and let me know if you got that?
No, I think that makes sense.
Isn't that cool? It's cool, isn't it? So things are pretty chill right now, right? We don't have that much contrast going on. Gaza does. Israel does. If they're not prepared, can you imagine like their hologram is falling apart? So then if they get into the fear, which it'd be really hard not to, then they're going to deconstruct in that. So call upon being in the right place at the right time constantly. That you're just ahead of a dissolving matrix, right? So that you never have to see it dissolve. That you've moved to the next town, to the next. It's that if something falls apart, your community just happens to be better than ever and gets together and builds a garden and has clean water source. And at first you might think it looks like, well, we don't have life as we know it anymore, but oh my gosh, this life is better and happier. Things, just because things might fall apart, they might still be better. But I really want you to put in your hologram that you don't want to experience fear in it. When I go to visit my parents, and my dad is he's really older, and he just has to have that constant stimulation now of the news because he hasn't trained his mind. And I just have to say, as I'm going about cooking and cleaning and helping them, I think, not in my hologram. The Fox News is blaring in my ears. Not in my hologram. Do it. Try it. Stay in the joy. Train your mind. Train your nervous system. Train your breath. When Diane said her breath changed, that was such a clear indication that she hit the frequency. Always note your breath. Secondly, always note if you feel the tinglies like Wendy was talking about. Those are two clear indications that you've hit the place you want to be during the meditation. Any other questions? Does everybody still feel warm and floaty?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
I'm so glad. I always know when Diane's in her full glory, when her voice changes to the warmest, juiciest. Like that is my favorite voice tone that you have.
Thank
I
you.
want you all to describe later on our text. We need to make sure Wendy's on our text. I want you all to describe your dress. I'm so curious later, okay?
Okay.
We didn't take it off and we didn't leave that room. Remember, we're connected in the hologram. All right. I love you all. Really good job tonight. I'm very proud of you. Great questions, great shares. And I love how right from the start, Kathleen set the tone. I don't want balance. I want harmony. Just remember that. What frequency is balance? I don't know. But what frequency is harmony? I know. So thank you for that. And I love you all so much. And stay in harmony.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
I will
Good
have
night. Tell us about your miracles.
Good night.